Hello,
Welcome!
to Decisive Podcast, episode 23. We have returned.
We have.
Isn't it exciting?
Yes. It is very exciting.
We left you at episode 22 back in June for what was going to be a 2-week to 2-month break.
Hi!
Yeah, this motherfucker got ill.
Very seriously ill. But it's alright now.
It's good. You're not ill. Well, you're better.
Yes, let's go with that.
And I'm here. And I am happy to be here. We are live on Facebook Live as usual.
Yes. With a few changes.
Oh, a few changes.
Just a few changes. What the fuck?
Says Decisive. That's crazy. We're also on fire.
Yes.
Now, let's go through the changes, shall we?
Yeah. Do you want to lead the way?
I'll lead the way. Starting off with a few little thank yous to some people that have helped us out along the way. You may see our beautiful logo here. That is made by Jake Moore. Thank you, sir. And the incredible intro theme recorded by Mr. Matt Duffy, formerly of Invocation and currently of Amongst Phantoms.
There you go. I was going to say, I hope you don't fucking expect me to remember the man, because I do not.
Right, I do. So yeah, that was recorded months ago now.
Yeah, pretty much right back at the beginning of the 2-week break.
It might have been before the break.
Nah, it might have
I
been.
think it was ready for the... Yeah, we're changing in a couple of weeks in July. But here we are, live in October.
Yep, just a couple of months out. But yeah, we are here.
And we've got a new team. So still, me and Rob. Rob and I.
Fuck!
But we also have, joining us, fortnightly reviews, written reviews, which will be released on all Facebooks.
All Facebooks.
All Facebooks.
All forms of Facebook. it will
Mr.
be released
Liam
on.
Reynolds has joined the team.
Yes.
After asking for far too long. So yeah, fortnightly, starting this Wednesday, we're going to have weekly reviews. We also have the main man behind the scenes, Mr. John Nirush.
Yes.
And he is the tech dude that is making all of this beautifulness possible.
Wizardry.
So yeah.
Spectacular.
Also, added onto our Wednesday bi-weekly written reviews.
Fuck me, there's more.
There's more.
No, I might.
Every single Friday on Facebook and YouTube, we will have released a reaction video. So we're going to react to a song with a music video. Some people like that. It's taken off on YouTube, so we thought it seemed fun. Let's give it a go.
And it has been.
Yeah, we've recorded a fair few.
Yeah.
This Friday, we're not telling you who it is, because that's just too nice. We are going to be revealing it on Twitter. So let's go into those few extra pages we have. So added on to our podcastness, you can watch us live on Facebook at facebook.com/decided. Who thought it? YouTube eventually going live, but for now uploading, and that is under the name Decided. Follow us on our already existing Twitter. Brace yourself. At Decided. Instagram is _Decided, and finally, as people have been requesting this, as they can't really tune in sometimes to watch us, they just want to listen to us on something that will cost a lot less to stream than YouTube or Facebook on a train. You can listen to our podcasts probably from every Tuesday on SoundCloud, and our name on that is Decided.
No way.
I'm serious.
No, you're not.
From day
You are
one,
shitting
I
me.
thought, what a cool name for our SoundCloud.
Yeah, I know, and it's so out there and original.
You know what? Yeah. Full on. So have I missed anything important?
You tell me. No.
But we've got even more things coming soon. We've got big things coming soon. Yes. Long things that might be appearing.
Yours, long-awaited things that have been very long-awaited things that I really pretty much expected you to have had scripted out and ready to use for the past 10 years.
Yes, pretty much. I thought it'd be out by... It was intended for April.
It was intended for before we went on hiatus.
Yes. Yes, April.
Yeah.
So, moving swiftly on.
Yes.
As two guys that have no idea what we're talking about, the news.
Yeah.
Now, we're not going to cover all the news because it's been too long.
Yeah.
So here's the two biggest topics I can think of. All right?
Yeah, go for it.
So, first of all, Kiss.
Yes, announcing a farewell tour.
Kiss have announced a farewell tour.
probably much to the dismay of many, and perhaps to some, it's all right.
Yeah, well, they've been going around for like 40 odd years, maybe even longer than that, 45.
I don't know. We don't know what we're talking about.
We have no idea. No, just two guys that have no idea what we're talking about. Yeah, no, they've been going around for a long time, and to be fair, I think a farewell tour is due.
Yeah.
We know a certain somebody that was for obvious very upset. I'm sure a lot of people are very upset by it.
Yeah.
I've seen Kiss. I'm glad that I've seen Kiss once.
Never again.
I mean, it's at a festival again. I'll go check them out. I left Kiss before the end.
Oh wow. Okay.
I think I was drunk or cold. One or two.
Or cold. It could have been
downloaded.
Could have been
summer.
both.
It's usually cold.
It is usually cold in June. Welcome
so.
to Britain.
Yeah. So they will be going back into. I think it starts at the end of this year or maybe the beginning of next year.
Craziness.
I really should research into this, but it's been a long process of planning.
Or not, as it seems.
So,
but I mean, that's bound to sell out pretty much. That's
surely,
bound to sell out.
Yeah, man, they're huge, and they still put on a fun show regardless of their age.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know. I've never actually seen them live. I couldn't comment on their live show from previous years. Go into a little bit of it. Download. What was it like? What experience did you have?
The stage show was incredible.
Cold.
The stage show was sick. I was quite far back, so I wasn't fully in the crowd. But the crowd were going for it. I mean, it's the first time out of. So I've been at Download 10 years now in a row, and that was the only time they've played. The last time before that was 08, which was the year before I started going. But yeah, the crowd was going for it, and they're good fun. Yeah, they're a fun band to watch.
I suppose if it's your thing, if you're into that, then
yeah, I'm not really a fan of Kiss. Not because I dislike them, just never really give them a chance. They're not the music I really care enough to give a chance for.
Fair enough.
But yeah, that's it.
So moving on to the fucking quite shocking breakup of Machine Head.
Yeah, well,
members leaving, which I'm sorry, I am under the impression that that's gonna be it.
I don't know, because Rob Flynn will not give up on Machine Head that easily. Like the initial video was like, Dave McClain left yesterday, Phil Denwall's left today, or the other way around. This is kind of like, it's really sad, and kind of left there. And the next day, like, oh, by the way, it's not the end of Machine Head. Jared's still staying. This is going to be it's not a farewell tour. It's just a
farewell tour to 2 members.
Yeah, the members that are currently not in place, or they are going to leave. Yeah. Phil Denwall put up a post saying people grow apart. So I think there's bad blood between him and Rob Flynn. Rib Flynn?
Ribbo Flavin.
But yeah, I think they will continue. I don't think Rob's going to let it die.
I mean, he will definitely carry on making music, whether or not it will be under that band name. What do we think about that? Because
he won't change the band. I don't think he'll change the band name.
No,
not after this. So Phil Denwall has been there for 15 years in the band, and Dave McKay's been there since the start for 23 years. Sorry.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a long time to be in a band and to suddenly give it all up.
It is, which again is another pretty clear-cut indication that something has gone down.
For sure.
I suppose there's every chance we might find out a bit more as time progresses.
Mm-hmm.
Probably when it's all said and done, really. I mean, if you were the frontman of a band and you really didn't want 2 members that are leaving to leave, you probably wouldn't say too much shit about them until after it's all said and done.
Yeah, probably right.
It's not like Rob Flynn is outwardly opinionated.
No.
About anything.
Not at all. He's a very tame guy.
Yeah.
Hi, Rhino Driscoll, by the way. Thanks for tuning in. Like the new look? We do. Cool. So that is the very small amount of news for the last 4 months.
Yeah.
But as
I'm sure there's been more.
Yes, as delicately put on Instagram. Check the internet.
Yeah.
We don't serve you. So, starting off, we have 2 reviews this week.
We are fucking doing 2 reviews this week. And one of which is obviously Unsigned Week.
Yep, and we're bumping up Unsigned Week. So we did have a 4-week rotation. We now have a 6-week rotation, including 2 unsigns. Mine and yours pick.
Yes.
And the poll.
Yeah.
That we put up. We're going to choose one each and put a poll. And we mentioned this before, but it didn't really take off. So this week I'm going to put up a new tab. And on the Facebook page, and that is going to be for fans to choose albums we review. They can also choose topics we put up as well, and that's going to be superb. Where's the ashtray?
In your lap.
On my lap, yes.
In your groin, sir.
Nailed it.
So yeah,
so please add on those when we put them up this week.
Yes.
I'll post about on the page.
Cool.
Now, first of all, we're not doing Unsigned. We'll leave that till the end. We're starting off with Slipknot, Point 5, the Grade Chapter. Now, they've won the Decisive tournament towards the end of last. In fact, it was the end of last. It was episode 22, wasn't it?
I want to say it was, indeed. But I've been so fucking delirious over the past couple of months. I don't know.
As the tournament winner, they have got the privilege. Yeah, so they're the first ever band we're doing a second review for as well.
Yeah, and to be fair, as a band, quite honoured to do so. For the album, however...
So we've both heard this before.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie though, so that everybody's clued in. My exposure to this album, fucking limited, because I literally listened to it from front to back once and was like, nope. And then I listened to it again and was like, okay, some bits of this are alright, but generally still nope. But listening to it with a critical ear can bring
it's slightly different, isn't it?
Some subtle changes.
For better or worse, let's find out.
Yes! So, kicking off, The Grey Chapter by Slipknot.
Yeah, Point 5.
Point 5, mate.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
So, we start off with the intro track of XIX,
Yep.
or 19.
Quite possibly one of the longest intro songs known to man. And to be fair, when you've got something like that at the beginning of an album, you really want it to gear into it properly, and I just didn't get that, really. What's the point?
I love this intro track.
Do you really?
I really do.
Why?
It's so mysterious. And it's when he's like, obviously it's a tribute to Paul Gray, obviously, hence the name.
Yeah.
And when he's like, this song is not for the living, it's for the dead.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I like that.
Lyrically, it's okay, and to be fair, when he actually is singing, it's like, okay, this sticks in my head. I just feel like, for me, it really should have gone from that into the heaviness of the next song, but we'll get to that.
Yeah, it didn't lead in properly to the next song, correct.
It
but
quietens down so much and then just starts up again, and that just didn't sit well with me on any of the times that I've listened to it.
Yeah, I get that, but I like it. I said...
It is trippy, you've got the sound effects and stuff in the background, I like that. That's very reminiscent of old school Slipknot.
Yeah, for sure. I said that it was actually a good opener, and this is the bad sentence. It's a good sentence about the song, but it shows what we're getting into. It's one of the best tracks on the album.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
One of the best tracks on the album. It remains mystical whilst having that Slipknot vibe.
Yeah, I'll agree with the end. I will agree with the tail of that sentence. Has a very Slipknot vibe, sort of reminiscent to what you would expect from it.
Yeah.
So,
Catastrophe.
Yeah.
It's a heavy track, but doesn't really have anything behind it. There's no feeling in it. Gets boring really quick.
Mad. See, when the guitar drops, it's really reminiscent of old school Slipknot for me, and that is nothing but a good thing. Yeah, Corey's vocals don't really sound too bad either, but at this point, like, even by the end of the song, it's still not sort of coming together for me, listening to it. There's just something that you can't quite put your finger on that's just like, what is missing?
Yeah.
And I think I know what it is. But, who knows? So yeah, for me, just kind of a flat track. Sorry.
Yeah, nothing special.
Nothing special, but
At all.
it's nothing awful either.
Not awful. It's just
It's
boring.
nothing bad. I don't really even think it was fair to say it's boring. But that's me anyway. So, and then we approach Original Violence.
Oh.
See what I did there?
LB, bye.
Yeah, drums are really drilling. Has a structure that you can actually gel with, and it's definitely still not the bar that you would expect, but it's better. You know what I mean? This is like the first point in the album. From listening to it with the critical ear, this is the first point in the album that I was like, okay, we're getting somewhere.
Yeah. Fair. I basically said it's much better than much better step in the right direction. In the right direction. I can't speak English.
In the right direction.
That hasn't changed.
That's how, folks.
It has more variety to it and feels a lot. Thanks. Feels a lot more passionate. However, However, yeah, so it feels a lot more passionate, and I'm usually a fan of heavy songs, but at 5 minutes 30, this feels like it goes on a bit too long. There you go.
You know it's got to say something about your own fucking handwriting when even you can't read it.
It's my fucking eyesight. I refuse to wear glasses on podcasts.
Right, I mean, with the lighting and stuff, because, you know, we're actually a little bit fancy now, that might be a good thing.
Yeah.
But still, yeah, sure. Right, so, next up.
Devil and I, the best song on the album.
Do you reckon?
Yeah, such a good song.
Okay. For me, as a single, I expected more, to be honest, and I've never really been a fan of it. I will say, listening to it with a critical ear in mind, my opinion lifted slightly,
Okay.
but not a great deal.
You don't think it's that good of a track, no?
It's... No.
It's heavy as fuck.
Do you really think?
The video helped me like it when it first came out, to be fair.
See, I've watched the video once when it first came out, and because the song, at the time, the first time I listened to the song, I was just like, no. Because
Really?
it just set a bad tone for the new Slipknot album for me. And I can't remember which way around. Was it -1 first? And then... So I'd already listened to that and had very, very serious doubts about that. And then listening to this just kind of... all hope was gone.
Oh! Touchdown!
Fuck me sideways.
Literally a fucking great song. Good mix of vocal styles, heavy as shit. Instrumentals are really easily the best. The instrumentals are great, and it's easily the best song on the album.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely wouldn't go that far. Yeah, musically, it's not awful. Just it still isn't touching. Yeah. Okay.
You agreed?
Yeah, sure. Why not? So Kill Pop.
So I really wasn't a fan of this song when it first came out. I remember that. However, under this critical ear of mine, I didn't. Sorry. Sorry about that.
No, that's absolutely fine, sir. You just fucking get distracted. It's fine. I'll keep this thing alive. Apart from the drum fill after the first chorus, nah, really. There's a couple of guitar parts as well, but overall, not a fan.
Okay, fair.
Not at all.
Fair skis. So yeah, I wasn't a fan when it came out 4 years ago, but I like it more now since I've seen it. Since it first came out, sorry. No, sorry. Let's rewind. I can't read. Kill Pop. Didn't like it when it first came out 4 years ago. I like it better now that I've seen it live. Because I've seen it live a couple of times, I think, or at least once. Download. I know that much.
Yeah.
But it still doesn't jump out as a highlight of the album. The song declines as it goes on, and the outro just isn't good.
Just isn't good.
No.
Yeah, fair enough. So, Skeptic.
Scarp Talk. Some of the lyrics, which are obviously dedicated to Paul Gray,
Yeah.
are good, but I also find the creativity lacking. So lyrics, the world will never see another crazy motherfucker like you. To my opinion, it's very basic and very. I don't want to knock it too much because it's their tribute and it's what they felt to write, and that's fine. This is the first of two main obvious tributes to Paul.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I don't want to take away that this is how they wanted to pay tribute. Thankfully, this isn't the only tribute song on the album. Oh, there you go. Said what basically I wrote.
Yeah, well done.
Thank you, man.
That is kind of the aim of the game.
But I didn't look at the paper.
Oh my god, you're fucking blowing my mind.
Wait,
for me, actually, this was a vast improvement. Drums, still no Joey J, but really fucking good. And it is among my favourites on the album.
Skeptic.
Yeah.
Wow, fair enough. Lech.
Mon Dieu.
Right. I'll just go straight in there.
Yep.
It's a pointless track.
Yep.
Positioned in the middle of the album. A small... Oh, fuck my life. A small bit of nice guitar work. That's the word I wrote. A small bit of nice guitar work, but that's all that stands out.
Just
I don't know how
bit.
Slipknot fell this far. Obviously, this was after Paul died, and he did contribute a lot to the writing process.
Yeah, I mean, I pretty much put the same thing, falling flat again. Some alternative sound effects in it kind of remind me of earlier albums, and that's cool, but other than that, really pointless. Really fucking pointless.
Yeah, fair. Yeah. Goodbye.
Hello.
Hello. Goodbye, the track, which is the more obvious dedication to Paul.
Yeah.
So it's a very soft, short start, which is expected, to be fair, from a tribute track.
Yeah.
which goes on to a heavier style. I think it's a very good tribute to Paul Gray. This displays the variation and range of music Slipknot can pull off and create well.
And also the variation and range of emotions felt, because some of the lyrics and some of the sort of stylization of the way that the song's brought together is angry. Like there's some anger there that's not necessarily directed to Paul, but just anger at the situation.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
that much hasn't really been shown in the whole thing, really, because at first it was just like, we've lost our brother, we're really sad.
Mm-hmm.
It's only really when you deep dive into situations like that that you actually start thinking, shit, there are other emotions tied up in that.
Yeah, for sure, man.
So yeah, I mean, I just put an ode to Paul, an obvious one, outlining some of the dismay, sadness, and also anger in some levels, and it does lead into the next song really fucking well.
Fair. Nomadic.
Yo, I will go as far as to say I like it. It sounds like, aside from the guitar, more like Stone Sour, I would say.
Yeah.
It doesn't really remind me of Slipknot all that much at all, and for that reason, it's kind of a bit. I don't know how I feel about this. But yeah,
I've literally got one line for this song that I wrote, and it's a pretty good chorus engulfed in a forgettable song.
Yeah, I would. Fair enough.
Yeah.
That is a fair opinion. Yeah, I mean, I will go as far as to say I like it, to be honest. It's alright. I'm getting the feeling that we have very different opinions about this album.
Yeah, some of the songs that I thought we might agree on are the ones we disagree on, and some songs that are shit we agree on. But if they're really shit, we're just like, yeah, they're shit. Yeah. But then the ones we do like are different.
So at least we've got the benchmark of shit outlined in this album. Cool. So, the one that kills the least.
Yeah, I was bored
Yep.
the entire way through. A nothing of a song.
It's a roller coaster of an album at this point for me, because I just wasn't getting it at
This
all.
took four times I had to listen to this. Not the album. I had to 4 breaks, and sometimes there were days.
Wow.
I was like, I can't continue listening to this. I'm getting so mind-numbingly bored.
Yeah, I mean, I listened to it in full one day, listened to it in full the next day, and then really couldn't stomach much more.
Yeah.
I went back through skimming over the parts that I wanted to write about in each song when I was writing, and that was it. So yeah, I confess I literally listened to this album from start to back twice.
Yeah, I mean, I did it once, and that was in 4 gaps, but I've listened to it before.
Mad.
It's worth pointing out that we are fans, fairly big fans of Slipknot, so
Yeah.
it's not like we're shitting on the band.
No,
It's just this album.
this album is.
This album we've said we would never review, and
Yeah.
I forced it.
Strange things happen.
So, also, if you have any comments, throw them in. If your thoughts on the album or Slipknot as a whole, let us know.
Yeah. Before we move on to Custer.
Custer, one of the better tracks on the album. Oh no, heavy as fuck, and you can actually tell that Sid is a part of the album.
Yeah, okay, so that's one thing that I will agree with you on. I almost feel like I'd heard this on the album already at this
Right.
point. The spoken parts were dark and they were pretty cool. I quite liked that. But the chorus, why do you like that chorus?
It's slipped my mind. What is the chorus?
Got me out. Fuck.
It's angry.
It's
as
angry,
fuck.
but it seems juvenile as shit, man.
Okay, it does seem a bit juvenile, doesn't it?
Yeah, I didn't get into it.
I think live helps that song as well. When he's doing it, he's like, "God," and you're like, "I just want to punch people."
Yeah, okay. I was going to say, for that reason, perhaps it would be good to be in the nosebleeds for a Slipknot show for that song. But other than that, it doesn't really stand much purpose.
Yeah,
I mean,
fair.
it didn't stand out on the album either way. So, yeah.
You can hear the anger and the range behind the vocals. I usually don't like things like the beginning of this song, the talking bit, but this worked well.
I really liked that.
Yeah.
I really liked that. It was dark. I quite liked it. Be prepared for hell.
Well, if you're sure.
Yeah.
I'm
certain.
Interesting part of the album, which I've which I've somehow never heard before. I don't think I've actually heard this song before. Even though I listened to the album before. Obviously, maybe when I first heard it, it just got so forgettable that I didn't bother, and my ears weren't really tuned in to the album.
That's fair enough.
It's a more sinister add-on to the intro track.
Yeah, and for that reason, I guess it's alright, but listening to it both times as well, I actually made a point of, like, just neutralising myself for this, because the first time I listened to the album, I was just like, this is fucking pointless. There's no point in this being in here whatsoever. And then the second time, I was like, okay, it works a little bit better. I still think it's fucking pointless.
Okay.
So that, it's fucking pointless.
Fair. I can't argue that.
The negative one I am, because it's fucking...
Oh, I did say, sorry about the last one.
Yeah,
Even though it's a good addition to the intro track 19 or X1X, I'm not sure it's exactly needed or added anything to the album. So I'm with you on that one slightly.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. The negative one.
Mediocre song, teetering on good. It's the best of the worst on the album. So it's not a good song, but if you're like, once you get the good ones out of the way, what's the top of the shit? That's the top of the shit.
Okay.
Flies.
I mean, this is probably the one that I wrote the most about, but just because I've always wondered if this was aimed at Joey. Obviously, lots of places on the net nowadays confirm that, obviously, Corey had an interview in which he has said many times, it's nothing to do with Joey whatsoever. It's all about the inner demon kind of shit, which it does kind of fit. When you listen to what he says about it in his interviews and stuff, and then you listen to the lyrics of the song, it's like, yeah, okay, I can see that. I also think it bears a fucking striking resemblance to Joey. I can't really see... Do you know what I mean? I know Corey Taylor can be a bit of a bell, but I don't really think he'd go that far out of his way to insult Joey, really. And it is quite insulting. So I'm going to side with that.
At first, when it came out, I did think it was very much a Joey one.
Everyone did.
Yeah.
Everyone did. Too much of it would fit at the end of the day. It's like too coincident. It's too much of a coinkydink.
Coinkydinks.
Yeah, so... but obviously you can see his argument that it's like embracing two sides of yourself. Otherwise the negatives sort of bleed in. So unless you embrace the negative inside you, then it's bound to take over. As for the song, who gives a fuck?
Yeah, pretty much.
Quite frankly, who gives a actual shit?
If rain is what you want.
A boring song to close the album is what you get.
I thought it was a pretty good ending track. I didn't really notice the song before. It's not amazing enough to raise the score I had before overall.
Okay.
Yeah, so should we close this album up?
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I really didn't like the last song. Just thought it was boring. Overall, had a few surprises from my initial listenings. Still not a good record in my opinion.
I was pretty blunt with my overall in one sentence. Overall, this is easily Slipknot's worst piece of work.
Yeah, I'll agree.
Now, they do have a new... Before we go give our scores, they do have an announced recently. Technically news, but not news. Well, it is news, but in the blending in the album review,
yeah,
they have an album coming out next year. No, tour is guaranteed for next year, and the album is expected for next summer.
Right. Okay.
So download headline possibly.
Get your sweepstakes in, people.
For years, I rated this as a 4 out of 10.
Yep.
I wondered if this would give me a change. I'm sticking with 4 out of 10.
Okay, I actually, surprisingly, even though I feel like you've said more positive things about the album, I gave it a 5. 0.5. So yeah, 5 out of 10. Do you know what? There's enough in the album to make it sort of less than the halfway point. But just wanted to be nice, really.
Sorry, Slipknot. Hopefully, next one's better. Next one is better.
Yeah, hopefully, next one's better, mate.
Next one will be more of a Iowa feel.
Or Subliminal Verses.
Either way, suits me.
For me, All Hope Is Gone. Even just not this again. We all know how you feel, alright? We all know how you feel.
Some people might not. Cool.
What is this, your first day?
First day back.
Look at us on fire!
We are on fire. Look at us turn into white magazines.
Fucking matey-o. Because it is time for the topic.
The topic of love.
No, definitely not.
The fall of magazines and the rise of podcasts.
Yes.
This seemed like... So this one I've had written down for months before we even broke up. Not broke up, went on hiatus. Did it to Machine Head. So we had members join rather than members leave.
Oh.
And yeah, it was never like the right time. And this feels like the perfect topic to have on the return of our podcast.
Yeah, I will 100% agree.
So let's go into magazines first of all.
Yeah.
Notable magazines, especially in the UK, are obviously Enemy, Metal Hammer, and Kerrang. We'll talk about mainly metal here. Obviously, Enemy's varied. And of course, in America, you've got Revolver, Rolling Stone. You also got classic rock.
Yep.
Down here. So yeah, let's discuss.
So I thought being that Enemy's probably, well, up until obviously recent years, Enemy was one of the longest standing magazines. So I thought I'd just share some numbers with you. So I read a global news article written by The Edge broadcaster Alan Cross.
Excellent.
Which sheds light on some numbers of circulation coinciding with the fall of CD sales.
Right.
So I thought that was quite an interesting sort of slant to take on it.
Yeah.
So CD sales are a mere 10% of what they were in 2000.
That's mad.
It is, yeah, a mere 10%. And obviously, a lot of that can be attributed to the fact that it's so digitally readily available.
Yeah. It's well, that is.
Yeah, exactly.
As covered in a previous podcast.
But that got me thinking: is the fall of music journalism in written form kind of coinciding with that alone? Are there other factors? So I did a little bit of research. And in its peak, paid peak, that is, because obviously Enemy had a brief stint of being free.
It did, indeed.
So in its paid peak, Enemy moved on average 250,000 units, with the paid version dropping to a lowly average of 15,000 a week in 2013.
Yeah, dire drop.
That is a dire drop. So obviously that gets you thinking, you know, it's not that the audience has shrunk, as such, just that obviously everything's kind of moving onto the net by this point. So early 2000s, Enemy's absolutely banging it out, and obviously the internet was booming at that point in time still, and this is the kind of stuff that found its way onto the net very quickly. So for them to have carried on for as long as they did, it's impressive. But
yeah, for sure.
I mean, 250,000 units to 15,000 a week is absolutely fucking nuts. So the free model that they released in retaliation to massive fucking drops in numbers like that, actually brought around their peak in terms of circulation, but obviously by that point wasn't a paid subscription, it wasn't a paid magazine, it was just a freebie. So naturally, if it's basically like, well, there's no point in not, you're bound to move more units. So that actually got their peak overall to 300,000 publications. But obviously by that point, because it's a free publication, more and more advertisement funding is being thrown into like online advertising for all those kind of things. And you need to remember as well that music by that point was actually already online. Everybody seems to think that, you know, Spotify, fucking iTunes and stuff was like where it all started. Napster, my friend. Does nobody remember Napster? I fucking didn't. But yeah, so 300,000 units being published basically means jack all at that point, because even advertisers were not throwing any money at them to have adverts.
People aren't going to see it, then they're not going to fucking pay for adverts, are they?
Well, I mean, this is it though, but by that point, I mean, they're moving 300,000 units. By that point, that's really a prime time for anyone that wants their shit to be seen to be like, okay, I will pay to have it in this magazine, but there is that kind of stigma that follows. It's a free magazine, why should I pay you to publish my adverts?
But at the same time, it's a free magazine, it means more people are likely to see it, and therefore more people see adverts.
Yeah, I know. I mean, this is literally only 5 years ago. But they just basically generated no income from that. It was barely enough to keep the company alive. And then obviously early this year, 66 years almost to the day, if not to the day exactly, since their first publication, they announced that they were going digital only and stopped publication. Yeah. And that is the soul-crushing tale that can be heard with a lot of these magazines.
Yeah, it does happen quite a lot. So what I feel about the situation overall, so we live in a technological age now, where a lot of people find their information about bands online for free.
Yeah.
Right. The only real reason I find magazines that appealing now is the odd exclusive interview, which will be hard to get. So I buy Metal Hammer or Kerrang for the old... I bought Kerrang for Architect interview recently. I bought Metal Hammer for Avenged interview recently. I'm a whore. And maybe the odd like poster or giveaway special, like a beer mats kind of thing. Yeah. That you won't get any other place. You can't get them online unless you want to print off a shitty version. Yeah. That's really the only thing that appeals to me for magazines. I don't often buy magazines.
But there was a time that
I bought Metal Hammer every month for like a year at one point. Maybe just over a year.
And how much was that a month?
$5-ish. 4.25 maybe.
So it's basically nothing, really.
It's not much, no.
It's something that you will barely miss leave your bank account, quite frankly. Which says it all. I mean, if things are, that kind of cheap, you'd expect them to just carry on shifting regardless, really, because in my mind anyway, maybe it is just because of the kind of era that we were born in, but it's all fine and well having it readily available online and stuff, but I like having a glossy print.
Yeah, I do too. I'm the same with CDs. I like having the CD in my hand.
Yeah, I mean, downloading, I'm not going to deny, fucking the police don't watch this, I'm a massive pirate. I download all of my shit. But if it's a band that I particularly want to support, I will definitely go out and buy their CD.
Yeah.
If they even produce one, because some albums just don't even come out that way anymore, really.
I mean, Avenged was considering releasing the stage as digital only.
Exactly.
And that's disgusting. And I'm so glad they changed their mind.
Same with A Day to Remember and Common Courtesy until fans kicked off about that as well.
Right.
So yeah, it's something that's sort of, I feel like we're teetering on the edge.
Yeah. So, as mentioned, a lot of information, album reviews are online. They're easy to find now.
Yeah.
So you don't really buy a magazine for the reviews because they post it anyway. I never want to take away from the skill involved in written journalism because I did it myself. It's fucking tough, and these people deserve their jobs, kind of thing. You can't just walk into a music journalism job.
Yeah.
Like you can with bartending. But I will say it's easier to access and more enjoyable to. Which we'll get onto after, which we'll talk about magazines for a bit longer, but just a little touch on podcasts. I find it more enjoyable to listen to a podcast. I can listen to a podcast easily.
Yeah. And
sometimes, like us, we're not just reviewing something, we'll spur off and start talking shit about.
Yeah, I mean...
Duck butter.
Duck butter.
Yeah.
Buck butter. It's definitely a more immersive experience. Mm-hmm. That's the thing. And from the perspective of the consumer, you have to think that it's easier. I mean, if we were a much bigger podcast and we were having interviews with some of these people that we're talking about, there's really no kind of substitute for that, really, unless those people were getting to meet their idols themselves, because it's the next best thing, really. You can read an interview from fucking M Shadows, Sin, in a magazine and think like, yeah, cool, I feel like I know a little bit more about Sin now.
Yeah, but if you hear
it's not the same. You feel like you're in the room, you feel like you're part of that conversation.
Yeah, absolutely.
So there is that to be said about bigger podcasts, but then there are podcasts that don't have interviews like ourselves, but even bigger ones than us that still
for now
that don't have interviews, and they will still smash the shit out of any publication now.
Yeah, agreed.
And in that sense, I mean, what's that all about, really?
I mean, before we touch too much on podcasts, let's rewind a step to Metal Hammer, right?
Yeah.
So Metal Hammer went through similar shit to NME, but have come out better the other side.
Yeah.
So, basically, with Metal Hammer...
Metal hummus.
Metal hummus, yeah. It's the best kind of hummus. It's not edible. In just days before Christmas 2016, Metal Hammer staff who were under the Team Rock banner at the time were informed that they have lost their jobs. I think it was more than 70 staff.
78.
78, wow.
That is what I read.
78 members of staff told they lost their jobs days before Christmas, and there was no severance pay. Like,
that's
sorry
bullshit.
Guys, you're gone. Bye-bye.
That's absolutely bullshit.
Yeah, so there was chaos in the Metal Hammer land, obviously, as there would be for any person that's just lost their job.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, especially at that time of year as well. That's like the most crushing fucking news to be given right before Christmas.
So luckily, this only lasted about 2 weeks until it was saved. But
because that was the original parent company.
Yeah,
publishers.
Team Rock went... I think they weren't original, they were something else before that, but they were with Team Rock for years. Then Team Rock went bust, and they were out. Okay? So, basically, oh, that's me. So they're informed, blah, 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 blah. Team Rock went into administration. Thankfully for them, the band Orange Goblin, they launched a Just Giving fundraiser for staff, which raised more than £70,000. Which is fucking gross, 10,000 per person, if not at 70 people, but yeah. Plenty of bands also paid money towards their cause. Bands included Avenged Sevenfold, Blackstone Cherry, and Tesseract. Frank Turner set up an auction to raise money. It was actually after 3 hellacious weeks, not 2. and shitty Christmas and New Year's for the staff.
Yeah.
The new company Future Publications, which I believe are the ones in charge of Empire magazine.
Could very well be. I didn't actually read too much into them. I just know that when the last guys bought the rights to all three of the sister mags, they bought them for substantially more than they were able to sell them for.
Yeah, for sure.
We're talking millions to about £800,000.
Yeah.
Which is fucking jokes, quite frankly.
It's insane. So they bought them out, and yeah, they saved Metal Hammer has been running since, thankfully.
Yeah.
Metal Hammer has been since I got, probably since like 18, 19, 20, Metal Hammer became my main magazine after I moved away from Kerrang, because Kerrang was bringing the horizon in my face, and I was sick and tired of it.
We'll get to that in a minute.
Okay. So have you got information on other magazines? Fire away.
Yeah, so I thought, being that I've never really been, I should back up and say when magazines were in full circulation and there was quite a lot to choose from. I didn't have a job. I didn't have money, really. Do you
know Mr. Kieran Bolton?
Yes.
Okay, fair enough.
Fuck you, Kieran Bolton. Fuck you. I didn't have money to really spend on magazines. The money that I did have was being spent on other things that weren't magazines. But one that I did invest in a few times because...
Lego, right? Is it Lego?
Yeah, 100%.
Good. I love Lego.
Love me a bit of Lego.
Sophie Ray's tuned in. Hey, Sophie Ray.
Hey, fucking...
I haven't seen her in ages.
I know, right? God. Alternative Press began humbly in 85. And actually, their sort of origin story is quite interesting. I don't know if you know much about Alternative Press.
I do not. I've seen them about, but they've never really been my style.
So originally were handed out at underground concerts, like just tiny little sort of cutouts were handed out at concerts in their hometown. The name actually comes from the publication's desire to be an alternative choice to the local press that refused to cover the bands that the founder, Mike, I've never known how to pronounce his name, Shearbutter, thought deserved cover. So we're talking all of the underground metal acts that, weren't getting any sort of exposure at all from like the main press. He obviously saw a gap in the market for that and decided to just completely off his own back go to all of the gigs, hand out some fucking cool little publications and stuff, little booklets. They then came into some serious financial obstacles, in which Mike was having to basically borrow money from his mum. We're not talking like a couple of $100 here, a couple of $100 there. We're literally talking like a lot, £1,500 here, $2,500 there.
A small $1 million loan, yeah?
Yeah, exactly. That's the one. And obviously they actually stopped printing so they started in 85. Things went really well doing the whole underground concert thing. They started bringing out a full-time print.
Hold on. We've got a little love affair going over here between Kieran and Jermaine. Now, Jermaine, when you're spelling my Kieran, you spell my Kieran correctly, okay?
When you're spelling Bolton's Kieran, spell it however the fuck you want, because he's a bell. Love you, man. You're just jealous. So they stopped publishing in 86 until 88 due to serious financial issues. And then carried on, obviously. I don't really know if it was just a boom in actual sales that they started receiving much more money. But advertisements started filtering in. Everything went pretty well for them. So
okay.
It's interesting to know that they also sponsored a podcast on XM Radio. So I figured that was worth a mention.
For sure.
Alt Nation.
But that's now stopped.
I believe so.
Okay.
I certainly couldn't really find much information about it.
Okay.
So yeah, but I just figured that was another interesting thing, because even a magazine that's seen the hardships of finances over the years, even since way back in like when they began, still making a digital jump. So there's no sort of real correlation there so far.
No.
And that got me thinking about other reasons why publications that we see today have sort of, varied in circulation, and some have obviously gone bust. But I don't know. I don't know if you wanted to talk about Kerrang a little bit first.
They are the longest running currently. In the UK, sorry.
In the UK, definitely.
Yeah.
Interesting fact, they are actually branching out to the States.
Okay.
They're releasing an American-only publication that's going to focus on gigs and stuff and events that are happening over there.
Fair, okay.
So they were first published on the 6th of June in 81, originally as a one-off supplement in the Sounds newspaper, but success saw it launch as a monthly, which then saw it go fortnightly, and soon after finally launching as a weekly in 1987. So it really only took them 6 years to go from a one-off thing that they would just put in a paper to a weekly magazine that everyone loved and adored and bought. Pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Chief editor between 2005 and 9, Paul Brannigan, claimed the most successful period for the magazine. 80,186. Fuck yourself. All right, buddy. I'm reading. Yeah, so it finally launching as a weekly. So yeah, had most success between 05 and 09. 80,186 units. Not bad. That's not bad. Other sort of notable people that were worth a mention there are former Enemy editor James McMahon, who took over in 2011, who then unveiled plans to expand into the US with new publication that's going to arrive hopefully this year, if not maybe next. Interestingly enough, and this is quite a funny thing, because I've heard another publication that started and stopped many, many years ago. Kieran, you need to fuck off, mate. Quite frankly, you don't even listen to this. Go back to your Stevie Wonder. Yeah, so there was a publication called Metal Forces that was around in the 80s, and to be fair, had their own claims to fame because they were the first people to sort of like relentlessly publish the shit out of Metallica before they got famous and other bands of that kind of thing. They claimed to coin the term thrash metal in one of their first editions. Now, I've done extensive research on this because that interested me. And more articles that I saw actually referred to a Malcolm Dome, who was a Kerrang journalist.
Okay.
Who actually coined the term in issue 62 in 1984. Am I looking enough at you? So before that, Metallica's James Hetfield actually referred to their sound as power metal.
It's strange, isn't it, when you think about it? Now...
A little bit, yeah. I mean, for a journalist to actually change the way that a band sees their own material is quite something.
Not even just a band's music, the band of that genre.
Yeah, like the band. The band that everyone, if you said like define thrash metal, it's Metallica, isn't it?
Yeah, at least old school Metallica.
Donington power metal. Fuck. So finally rounding off on another really interesting thing, and
yes.
our tech man John will really appreciate this. So Kerrang's website launched in 2001.
Yeah.
Interestingly, the domain was already owned by a cyber squatter, a Norwegian cyber squatter by that. And Kerrang's parent company at the time bought the domain off of said cyber squatter for £666 on the dot.
Bam. Beautiful.
Yeah, so there's some interesting facts about Kerrang. And they're still going to this day.
Yep.
They have obviously got a lot of other digital formats that they can fall back on, have their own radio.
Yep.
Lots of things. So in terms of their sort of longevity, I feel like they're pretty safe.
Yeah, for Kerrang, they're definitely the safest. They haven't gone any through massive issues. So, falling back to the Team Rock issue. Now, another magazine that falls under their umbrella is Classic Rock.
Yes.
Tell me what you know.
So, a sister publication of Metal Hammer and Prog magazine, as you know. This one was actually quite late coming, established in 98 as a on-off kind of project, but due to great popularity, it attained higher circulation than NME in its peak.
Wow,
Did
okay.
you know? But it also fell victim to the same discontinuation scares that Metal Hammer did, obviously with the parent company going bust. I don't actually know if anybody was laid off from this team specifically. I don't think so. I didn't read anything about it.
I'm unaware, yeah.
But in my mind, anybody that works for the parent company probably has a dealing in all of these.
Yeah.
So in that sense,
sure.
yes.
To answer Kieran's question, Kerrang did have a TV channel. And still do, actually.
Yes. Yeah.
the only really notable metal one other than Scuzz, and Scuzz is the TV only.
Yeah, and Scuzz, in my opinion, was a lot better than Kerrang because Kerrang started playing too much Panic at the fucking Disco. But that's just my opinion. That's my opinion. So yeah, so that obviously got me thinking. You know, we're seeing a very similar sort of thing with all of these publications that, you know, whether it's due to finances, due to popularity or circulation, sort of eventualities, were bringing them to a close.
Yeah.
So that got me thinking of other reasons, and I started doing a bit of research into why. So I looked at the years that Kerrang had its sort of least amount of circulation, and I looked at years that NME had little circulation, and indeed some other ones that we're not really going to talk too much about. Rolling Stone being one of them, because this is fucking horrendous. So many of the publications that we see today have varied reasons for a decline in circulation. Rolling Stone is going to be the one that I start with. Have had many ill-received articles. For instance, August 2013 featured Boston Bomber. Zokhar Zaniev, the Boston Bomber, basically. You know, Boston Marathon.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Right, yeah.
They involved him in the magazine.
Yeah, he was on the cover.
Oh.
I've read. Now
That's
I didn't actually go looking into that because, quite frankly, that just angered me enough when I read it. But there you go. So that was obviously received with some fucking pretty hectic backlash, because people were basically saying that Rolling Stone were glorifying terrorism.
Hot diggity.
Hot diggity daffodils. Kerrang is often seen, as you so pointed out a minute ago, is often seen as a fame or a trend magnet.
Right, yeah.
So started out by shining a light on thrash and glam metal acts. Metallica, Poison, Motley Crue were all among the first people to appear on the cover. Back in the 80s, before abandoning ship and hopping on the grunge train, and that same trend can be seen throughout any boom in this kind of genre of music. So obviously when sort of progressive and hardcore, metalcore, black metal started happening, they basically, that's going to be on the front of our magazine next month. Bob's your uncle. We don't give a fuck about our long-term readers that just want to hear about Metallica. And in some sense, that's not really the magazine's fault, because, quite frankly, they need to keep up to date as part of what they fucking do.
Yeah.
But yeah, that obviously got them slated by quite a few long-term fans.
Unsurprisingly.
Revolver underwent some employee backlash for poor treatment of staff in early 2000s, with reports of freelancers failing to be paid for their work and for their reports and stuff.
Disgusting.
Very much so. So that kind of shows that while CD sales and digital media have like a massive impact, it's not actually the only factor that we can really blame.
The thing is, Revolver is like the biggest metal magazine in the US. So I'm surprised by stuff like that. Like they're the ones that have the Golden God Awards, like Metal Hammer has our version here.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, this is way back in the early 2000s. A lot of disputes with like freelancers doing work for like any magazine or articles, newspapers and stuff. There's a lot of it. If you look into just stories of journalism in general, it's quite a common thing back in the early 2000s because internet.
Yeah. Hi Sean, appreciated.
That's hard. Hopefully it's not green. So
that comes up to, in recent years, I got an itchy armpit. That's happened more often than recent years.
Yeah, certainly back in the 80s that didn't happen.
No, see, there was no internet then.
No, yeah, exactly.
Therefore, no itchy armpits were around to be seen.
Fuck.
Yeah,
what a time.
Fucking mad. Ben
What
Jones, haven't heard him in a while. Haven't heard from him in a while.
Haven't heard of him in a while.
Yeah, cheers, Germ.
Germ.
So we got magazines.
Yeah, pretty much. So I just thought I'd focus on the big ones, and I knew that you would obviously go into Metal Hammer. Yeah, so.
And so you've obviously done a lot of research into that, which is awesome. I'm more forte in the podcast world at the moment, anyway.
Yep.
Other than our own, of course, the best podcast you will find live on Facebook.
Big one.
And that's nice. Fair enough. No, that's cool. Good. Any feedback's good. Actually, do let us know. If any feedback involves me not being able to put a sentence out properly, I don't care. That's how I am. So yes, moving on to more recent years. Now we're going to stick with Metal Hammer for a second here.
Okay.
And that is because Metal Hammer have a podcast.
Yeah.
So to go on from that, they have Thank you for the feedback, Haley. Always appreciated. So yes, with we'll go on to we'll still have a quickly. They've got a podcast and they are running their podcast
She
weekly.
funny.
she's good, man. Any feedback is appreciated. And yeah, so they've got their podcast going, and that's a weekly podcast. They ask for questions. Now, I've listened to it a fair few times, do it, bring up interesting topics. But my main podcast, as you can see right here, is That's Not Metal. And I would unbiasedly, I'm biased here. I'm a massive fan of it. I listen to it very often.
Mm-hmm.
They are probably the biggest metal podcast going. They are solely a podcast. They don't have a magazine as well. They have a weekly show on Fridays. That's the main guys, Terry Beezer, formerly from Kerrang and Metal Hammer, I think. At least Metal Hammer. He's my favourite journalist anyway. He and the current lineup of
Terry Beezer, the absolute geezer.
That's the one.
Yeah.
He recently moved to California.
Yeah, well, that wasn't recent, was it? That was
last year.
Last year,
yeah. All right, Petal.
It's supposed to be a fucking journalist, mate. Get with the times, yeah.
So he has. The current lineup of Terry Beezer, Ryan.
Somebody.
No, I can't. Ryan DeFreitas.
There you go.
And Perrin Hayish. Really good lineup at the moment. Used to be with Stephen Hill. We'll get onto that shortly.
Yep.
And they had a few other guys for a short amount of time as well. We'll get onto that shortly. So That's Not Metal have a weekly podcast. Now the weekly show is free, and currently that's all they're doing. However, when they first started out, they were doing the weekly show, and they would do specials. Lydia Matthews, this is not a podcast for you. You don't like metal. Although welcome to the podcast. So yeah, they do a weekly show, and also they used to do specials, which was once every 2 weeks.
Right.
And they would be for premium subscribers, and the premium subscribers were £3 a month or £17 a year.
Okay.
So cheap, not like you're ever going to miss that money, and
No.
the quality of stuff you got for it was really entertaining to listen to and watch.
Yeah, definitely.
Also not watch, sorry, listen to and enjoy. So that was back in the Hill and Bees days. Now,
which I'm going to point out is the only format that I'm even remotely familiar with.
Okay.
I haven't heard anything with the new guys at all.
Yeah, the new guys are going to them sec, but they're both really good.
Okay.
We'll get on to them now. Ryan DeFreitas is more of your hard rock kind of guy. He likes metal. I say it more of like a comparison to Perrin Hayish, who is like your death metal guy.
Okay.
And he's like the bloodstocker of the group.
Cool.
So he can easily talk. He still listens to other stuff as well. He can review them very easily.
But his preference would be things like Lamb of God, fucking Black Dahlia.
darker than that, yeah.
Dimmy Butger.
Yeah, stuff like that.
Right, okay, cool.
Behemoth. So yeah, they do the weekly podcast. Now, they went through a spat where they went to go platinum. This is where they wanted, they've got a Patreon thing up. The idea was great. The execution wasn't. It didn't work out for them, unfortunately. So there was a couple of weeks where they weren't even doing the free shows.
Wow.
And they weren't sure about the future of the podcast, to be honest. I signed up for the £10 a month thing, which gave me access to the Facebook group, which has been amazing. It's now open to the public, so if you guys want to join the That's Not Metal focus group, I think you just search it up.
Cool.
But it was at first it was a closed group just for Patreon subscribers. Patreon's gone. There's no payments now, and they are going back into a point of fortnightly specials.
Cool.
I'm not sure if there's any payment behind that. I'd be happy to pay like £5 a month for that, or £3 a month as it was.
Yep.
And That's Not Metal currently. So the whole basis behind That's Not Metal, as you might be able to tell from the name, and I've spoken about it before many times in this podcast, is they kind of got sick and tired of the comment threads on Metal Hammer and Kerrang saying, "Oh, that's not metal. This is shit," or stuff like that. And they went, if you like this music, great. If you don't. We're going to give brutal, honest journalism like we do.
Yeah.
We're going to speak about bands and not lick their assholes to try and get more fans in or get the band to like us more, so they mention us more or some bollocks like that. So it's a very honest, brutal podcast, and it was needed in the metal world when magazines were getting stale.
Yeah, 100%.
So that's not metal. Moving on to Riot Act.
Yeah.
So Riot Act it's a new podcast. I think they've got like 7 or 6 episodes out now. Catch up, lads. They are basically this is Stephen Hill's new podcast.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Right, so this is the one he started after leaving that.
And what's their name, sorry?
Riot Act.
Riot Act. Okay.
So this is the ones they had when they left That's Not Metal.
Yep.
I say they because the other guy with him, I think he writes for the Independent as well, might be wrong on that. It might be the Telegraph, it might be neither. Is Renfrey Deadman. What a name that is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he worked for That's Not Metal for a short time during this Platinum thing, where they were getting loads of people in. That's when Perrin and Ryan joined as well. And there's another lady as well, but her name has slipped my mind, apologies. They decided to start Riot Act after That's Not Metal went down.
So this is literally like a couple of months old now?
Yeah, a couple of weeks. A couple of months old, 2 months old. So they started off. I've listened to the first podcast. I don't have time to listen to 2 podcasts, and if I'm going to listen to one, it's That's Not Metal. That's just personal choice.
No,
I
fair.
urge anyone that likes metal podcasts to check out both. Renfrey and Stephen Hill are really good at what they do. I'm not taking sides in this. Not really a rivalry between That's Not Metal, but there's something went on.
There's obviously some tension there because I'm not even I don't follow either of them, and even I knew about stuff, and that's before obviously me and you have talked about stuff obviously off podcast in minor detail, but I even was finding out bits and bobs outside of that.
Yeah.
So it's a big thing. It's a big thing that's happened.
I have heard rumours from this guy that would have been nuts in That's Not Metal page. I've heard rumours from someone else in That's Not Metal page. I don't care to discuss rumours on here.
Mm-hmm.
I've got too much respect for Bees. I've got respect for Hill too. Right, I appreciate them both, but obviously I mentioned again earlier, like 10 minutes ago, and I've mentioned on a previous podcast, Bees is my inspiration for journalism. He was the reason I got back into it. That's Not Metal as a whole, was it? But it was Bees that did it. So I'm not going to go into rumours, but something obviously went on, and going out with a few facts that I've got. Stephen Hill posted about Riot Act on Twitter, sorry, and then in another one he said that he said something along the lines of blah 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 blah, and then not like that other podcast in brackets.
Right.
So
okay.
I was like, okay, that's a fucking dig. So
Yeah.
I commented it saying, dude, respect your past. Right? It's fine that you've moved on from That's Not Metal.
Yeah.
And really want Riot Act to be well.
Because that is just fucking disrespectful, and that's going out of your way to be disrespectful.
But then he replied to it and he said, if you knew anything behind the scenes, you would not be listening to That's Not Metal, and you would see the reasons for that. And I was like, you know what? I'm not going to pry. I'm not expecting you to tell me, because you don't know me, publicly what happened. I'm still going to listen to That's Not Metal because it's my podcast.
Yeah.
And
but it does beg the question, doesn't it?
It made me question, think what's going on, and it made me look into these rumours more. But at the end, I don't really care. If we, because I'm now about to start going into rumours now, and I don't want to go into it. But if any of these are true, then fair enough. But I've got too much respect to talk about it now, and
fair.
There's only a few times where I won't go into it, and this is one of the times. I feel like it's just not the right place for it.
After the show,
join us on Nothing while we talk about nothing. So yeah, That's Not Metal. That is also Riot Act. So they are going on. They have covered. Whereas what I find from That's Not Metal, that's more of a in your face blunt podcast.
Yeah.
But it's also really funny to listen to. Riot Act is also really funny to listen to. But you get the point of they seem to talk about what they like more rather than here's a random album review.
Yeah.
Do they like it or not? They'll go into depth. I'll give them that credit as well. They'll go into depth about what they like, and it can be very interesting.
Yeah. I mean, to me though, the whole thing just sort of bears. I'm the type of person that wants to know what's happened, so I can make an informed decision.
Too.
I mean, less theoretically, then I don't really know what would kind of fall under this umbrella, but theoretically, if you let's say Hill had actually messaged you back privately and said, right, here's the fucking skivvy, here's everything that you need to know about it, and it was something that you actually thought was like, okay, that is immoral, that is wrong, kind of thing about how would that affect your standing?
If it was the rumour that I heard, which is immoral and wrong, which I currently don't believe, because there's no fucking basis behind it, I would be pissed. I don't know how I'd feel at the time. I feel like if I found out at the time of it happening, like straight after Premium Platinum thing, and they separated, they went their own ways. If I found it then, I maybe take it a lot harsher. But they've moved on. It's happened. It's been like 6 months, and now I still really enjoy the show. I don't think I could turn my back.
And That's Not Metal haven't really done any digs towards Riot Act, I'm assuming.
No,
that's been a
one-sided not all. That is a one-sided thing. Nothing from Riot Act. In fact, in the group chat. In the group page, we posted about it, and like Bees, well, yeah, I can say this because now it's an open group and they could find it if they wanted to. So, he said that he wouldn't be offended. He's not offended by it. A little while ago, maybe he would have been, but he's just like, right, fair enough, whatever.
It's done.
Easily, they're not mates anymore.
Yeah, that's fair.
So,
which is a shame actually, because they bounced off of each other really fucking well.
Really fucking well. It's great.
But such is the way, unfortunately.
It is the case, yeah. So going back to the actual topic rather than explaining the podcast. So these are both of those two at least, and Metal Hammer. They're all free to listen to. They're ease of access. They are nicer to listen to because you have that conversation going. You feel like you're part of the room, like you said, and it can spout off to them talking about random shit.
Yeah,
and
which is just enjoyable, immersive. And it also means that you can just pop your headphones on, get on with other shit while you're listening to
Exactly,
it.
yeah.
So there's ease of accessibility as well. It's not even just that it's widely available and free, it's also really easy to listen to and do other shit while you're doing it.
Yeah.
So I guess then that kind of brings us to a bit of a verdict.
Yeah, pretty much. So, before we go on to our verdicts, I haven't written a verdict out. I don't know what I'll let you do your verdict first, and I'll base my reply on that. But yeah, it's a lot easier to listen to. You have that interaction, and with social media at the moment, especially, well, I'm using that as an example again because that's what I listen to. They'll throw that Metal Hammer do it too. They'll throw out what questions do you want answered. Sometimes they'll ask us a question and read out replies, which I thought was a really cool aspect. Yeah. And you really feel like you're part of it. Whereas a magazine, you sat there reading it, you can't even hear the emotion in a magazine.
No, yeah.
Yeah, sometimes you go, oh my God, are you reading a magazine? This part of the show was absolutely fantastic. And you go, oh, Les Gold's really enjoying it. But when you hear someone going, this was incredible, blah, 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 blah,
hearing that passion in somebody's voice is like second to none.
I mean, it helps for sure, yeah. I mean, back to the Riot Act thing, right? And the Twitter thing, just quickly, because I need to throw something in there that we may have pre-planned, may have not. But imagine, like, not specifically Riot Act, maybe like another podcast. Imagine them being so angry and butthurt over someone else's podcast. Can you imagine that?
No,
I can't imagine that.
No
one would be that silly.
No, it's just not worth the time of day, really.
No, it's not, is it?
But it's worth an honourable mention in our podcast that people listen to. So, getting to the very, very verdict then. I mean, so you said that you haven't actually written a sort of... And to be fair, I haven't like written a verdict in terms of like picking a side, so to speak, because I really don't think that that's fair or possible from my own personal perspective. But just to round it off, really, I mean, podcasts are quite similar to TV shows in that each episode generally has like an arc. I find that that's probably something that's quite desirable to most people. Much in the same way as an article would have like a journalistic direction to take, but the advantage of voiceover words is undeniable, really. It carries emotion, and people really feel like they're part of the discussion in that sense. Nobody really wants to wait for a week or a month to find out something that the net can provide in real time, which is one of the problems with both, really. Anything that could get mentioned on our podcast, for example, by the time that we're doing it on Monday and the thing happened the week before, most people, if they were looking for it, already know about it. Yeah,
of course. We'll get a news story tonight, which we'll talk about next week, and it's been out for a week already.
Exactly. So nobody really wants to wait for that long. And I think publications like Kerrang only really thrive because they've got multiple platforms that they can market smartly on. And that gives them resources to pour into still providing gloss prints. Podcasts are essentially an audio magazine at the end of the day. Providing more immersive experiences for the listener, real interviews with the idols that people adore, or simply two blundering buffoons with some salty opinions. Salty.
Can you imagine? Let it burn! Yeah, I fully agree with pretty much all of that. I don't have a side per se, but I'm a podcast guy. I listen to That's Not Metal. I really run a podcast.
Would you say that you've exposed yourself to That's Not Metal more than you've read Metal Hammer?
Absolutely. Yeah, because it's just so much more interesting and more fun. I can lie there, play Xbox or whatever and do it. I can't do that in a magazine because I'd die on the Xbox. The character would I'm playing as, not me personally dying.
I kind of didn't need that one clearing up.
Well, I like clarity.
Fuck me, this is a good mag. Just drop. Face plant.
Fall through my TV.
Yeah, legit. So
Podcasts are the way forward. With these past things that happen to magazines, obviously, I don't ever want to see the end of written journalism.
I don't either, and that's why I think it would be unfair for either one of us to say things should be this way or things should go back to being that way.
People do what you want. If you want to see
Yeah,
podcasts, great. If you want
100%.
to read magazines, great.
If you want to be a fucking caveman, read magazines.
If you don't want to watch our podcast, then fuck yourself.
And that, I think, rounds it off
So
really fucking nicely.
The fall of magazines is happening.
Already.
But hopefully not too quickly. The rise of podcasts is happening, and I'm fine with it growing.
Cool.
Yeah.
So,
moving on to our last segment of the week.
fuck me, it has been a crazy ride.
A whirlwind, right.
We are back.
Back on Unsigned Week.
It is like my mind has entered a new dimension.
Oh.
Our unsigned band this week is a band called Hedra.
Hedra, yes. They are a band.
They are, indeed.
Based
and
in
they
the
are
UK.
unsigned.
And they are unsigned.
And they were a band.
And they are a band. They
With-
are unsigned.
A 5-track EP called Mind Dimension.
Yeah, which you can find on Spotify right now.
So
So
fucking do
it's
it. Right?
Hedra, in case you don't know what Hedra is spelled.
Or check our Instagram to find them tagged in a post.
Or Twitter. Or Facebook even, where you are now.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably the easiest one. But go and check out the other platforms anyway, because...
Join us everywhere. We're taking over, bitch.
Cool.
So yes, they are a fucking heavy band.
Fucking heavy band. And to be fair, when you look at the cover of their magazine, it's not surprising.
You get that vibe, don't you?
You
straight
really
away.
do get that vibe. I mean, I don't know if he's deranged, if he's rabid, if he's something, but he looks angry.
Yeah.
And he's got some fucking gnarly
Shaman
teeth.
Sanguine!
What's that,
That really hurt my arm.
No, I'm not
The
surprised.
blue sleeve.
The blue sleeve is here to save the day. And also to discuss Hedra, Mind Dimension.
Yeah.
So, first track, Mind Dimension. What was your take on it, sir?
So, straight in there with beefy fucking drums and
Yeah,
guitar.
man.
Yeah. I quite like this.
Opening
intro.
with an absolute kick to the bollocks.
What? The sleeve? That's not a tattoo, bro. What do you mean that? Is that you or it's not you?
That's not
Anyway, thanks regardless. Now, I've been thrown off by the Sanguine.
You have been thrown off by the
Yeah,
Sanguine.
beefy drum fill, guitar riff, man. The vocal parts come in with the heavy screams at first.
Yeah.
Which, to be honest, aren't to my taste.
I kind of figured that. The more I listened to this album, the more I thought, I really do wonder what you're making of it.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, the vocals aren't to my taste, but that's personal opinion. That's not that they're shit.
No, yeah. And to be fair, they're more the kind of band as a whole that I can imagine myself getting into more than you, but purely because of their style.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
stuff.
for sure.
So this is going to be an interesting one for me. But yeah, straight away, kicking the bollocks to open us up. Musically, is fucking brutal.
Yeah, it's powerful.
Very much so. And the drums are really sick. Guitar's really good. Mix of heavy and melodic vocals. I really like
See,
it.
that's what I was going to get into. So you know, I like my heavy and my soft, but not this type of heavy usually. So the heavy which I'm not used to, or not usually a fan of, you can still tell there's a lot of energy behind them.
Yeah.
Softer vocals come in, and they're more to my taste, but I don't think at this point they don't seem to suit the song.
Okay, I
Like-
disagree.
It's only when they don't seem to suit instrumentals. It's only when the mixture of alternating heavy and soft combine.
Fucking do it, Shaman, because they are the definition of filth. You will see.
Only when they heavy and soft combines, that's the point where I'm like, okay, this now works. It now makes sense to me.
Yeah. Okay, fair.
Yeah, sounds a lot better. Instrumentals continue to be great on this track.
Yeah, man. So, Unspoken, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Cool fade. I like that. Cool fade in effect. The trippy voice part in the beginning.
Yeah, the child.
Yeah,
that was-
really fucking, mate. Nah, get out of my nightmares. But yeah, defo heavier on the vocals. The drummer, man. By this point already, the drummer was like, I like.
Yeah, the
I
drummers.
like.
Yeah, I like drummers.
He's really fucking good. Drummer, sorry, don't know you by name. Fucking awesome. Don't know you by name. And it made me feel really hopeful, to be honest. The rest.
So yeah, beginning with eerie voice of a child, it sets us up that this song is going to be quite a bit sadistic.
Yeah.
Um,
Could say that.
really liking the drums as they go on. For me, this track doesn't stand out as much as the opening track, but it's still good.
Excellent. Shaman, introduce us to any band that you like. In fact, why don't you suggest it as a review?
Yeah, tomorrow I'll tag you in it on the page. We're going to start fan choices.
Van choices. That
Fan
is,
Wham,
which
bam, bam,
vans
man.
do you like the most?
Ham.
I am a transit man. Warchild.
War Childings.
Ominous reminds me of something. I couldn't really quite put my finger on what it reminded me of. Some of the guitar work is quite similar sounding to me at this point. I feel like it was very much... I mean, they definitely... Stop me if I'm wrong, guys, but it sounds like they played in the same tuning for the whole thing. And a lot of it was kind of similar by this point. I sort of found a lot of the guitar work, while there were like differences in it, most of the sort of the bulk of it was the same sort of chuggy, which is all right for me, really. And the drums kept me entertained perfectly well. But just, yeah, something I noticed. Similar sounding. And then I sort of likened them a little bit to Me Versus the Atlantic.
Okay, yeah.
They
Local
kind of gave me
band.
that, yeah, kind of gave me that vibe.
Formally.
Yeah, a long time ago. Timothy fucking James. Yeah, however, this one just fell a bit short for me, really. I think it just because the guitar work kind of rung out as the same.
Yeah. Fair.
What did you make of it?
On the War Childings,
The Vortex.
I said this is the best song on the EP so far.
Mm.
The vocals remain heavy and feel angry and passionate. The drumming remains to the high level we've seen thus far. And the guitar work is rather good, especially leading up to the end of this track. It seemed like it was really fucking good.
Warchild sounds like Meshuggah a little bit to me. Less chug, more relaxed. I wouldn't personally say anything about this is relaxed, but more relaxed than Meshuggah, maybe.
Okay.
Cool. So, did you have anything else to say about
No, that's it.
Warchild?
On to the system.
The system.
Fuck the system.
Mate. They, at this point, I was thinking one thing and one thing only. If I get a chance to see these guys live, I'm going to break a bone of some description. They would be a very fun band to see live, I think.
So before I listened to the album today, for the first time, I clicked on their page to post the advert for the fact that we're going to review them tonight.
Yeah.
Live!
Live on the Twyford podcast.
Buy our merch!
Buy our
Which
fucking
we don't
t-shirts.
have. So, although blue sleeves in shops everywhere.
Yep.
Tuesday.
All over nowhere.
Yeah. So I saw a little clip of a live track. I was like, oh, okay, this is not going to be good. However, I was more pleasantly surprised by the album.
Mm.
It was like it wasn't a pro shot. It was like a normal video thing.
Yeah. So just like perhaps even like a fan made one, or was it like a video that was shot by like a photographer? Or
I think it was like better shot, but it wasn't like majorly professionally done.
Right. Okay. Majorly.
Majorly.
It wasn't majorly professionally done.
Yeah,
mate.
no, majorly.
No fucking
So
mate.
the system, the apparent anger continues here, which is obviously directed at the system.
Yeah.
The middle part, guitar and drum only section, is somewhat simplistic, but it worked perfectly.
I fucking loved it.
Yeah.
In fact, it was my favourite part of the song. I really like the off rhythm kind of part to the drums.
Yeah, the cymbals.
As a drummer, kept me guessing.
Same, yeah.
So I really like that. Cool. So one other thing that I will say about that though is because obviously there is a bit of a theme repeating here. Guitar still sounding kind of similar.
Yeah.
Not overly. We've definitely reviewed bands before that have literally been like, okay, this may as well have just been one fucking song throughout the entire EP because the guitar's that similar. So it's not to that level by any
Talk
means.
about like one long thing. Beartooth taking a massive shit and releasing it as an album.
Which one? Which massive shit are you referring to?
Well, I've only heard one, thankfully. Disgusting. Well titled.
And well-timed burp, because that was
Disgusting.
pretty disgusting. It's fucking disgusting. What the fuck you doing? What the fuck? Lost I Am Hate.
I just pointed out that the system was another enjoyable song.
Yeah, definitely. Lost I Am Hate.
Yes, unfortunately this closing track doesn't stand out very well, but is still keeping up with their previous songs in terms of style.
Yeah.
Following the guitar parts. Not a great closer, but it wasn't awful.
I actually thought it was kind of a cool closer.
Of course you did.
Yeah, because you are you and I am me.
Yeah.
This is definitely the Wall of Death song that you want at every show, in my opinion. I would go pretty ballistic if they closed their show with this. Does still share similarities, so in that sense it's a bit lacking. But yeah, overall, cool closer.
Sick.
I really liked it,
It
mate.
was fucking smashing, man.
It was alright, mate. Yeah, it was fucking good, mate. You guys fucking good, mate.
So overall, this isn't something I'd listen to but it's just for personal taste, as mentioned before. I think it's a good album.
Yeah, cool.
I would suggest it to people that are into this style.
Fair enough. Like myself. I think they've got real serious potential. I would say, as somebody that is not as involved in being a musician as you guys, so quite rightfully have no place whatsoever to say it, but I'm going to anyway. I really think if you guys experimented with some varying structures and maybe some different tunings and different kind of little licks on the guitar there, I'd buy that. Really not bad in my opinion, just a bit too much of the same thing when I can already hear the ability for more in the EP itself. You just kind of want that little bit more.
Yeah.
A little bit of variation there. But overall, I really fucking liked it, mate. It was alright.
I'm stuck on my... I had a very specific... This happens every fucking podcast.
It really does. I found it really easy to number this one.
I did at first, but now we've been speaking about it, I'm not sure if this one's too low.
Oh. So I'm going to guess your original was a 6.
No.
No fucking way, mate.
It's not originally a 6. But will it be?
Oh, damn.
I'm sticking with my 5 out of 10.
You are?
Yeah.
1 mark better than the Grey Chapter.
Yeah.
Wow. I actually rated this above the Grey Chapter, guys. 7 out of 10. Because
that's good.
I, just purely going off of it, was going to be around the sort of 5-6 mark. I thought 5 was definitely too low. 6 sounded right when I first sort of said it in my head, but I very quickly came to the realisation that I can hear a lot more potential.
I think it wasn't like so in terms of instruments. Like though, I say the drums are sick. Oh no, I've said it now. It's stuck in. It's locked in. But the drumming is great. The vocals I enjoy. Because I'm taking away from that. It's not my taste as well. I'm reviewing it as if it's something I would enjoy listening to. It's not badly made whatsoever. It's a good album, and I would suggest it. Yeah, but a bit same at times. The softer vocals at times didn't seem right, but they work together well together when blended. So yeah, I'm going with. I'm sorry, Showman. Grey Chapter 15 out of 10.
Greatest class of music ever. Now I wait for you to fucking
It's
fornicate
the
yourself
worst
with a
album.
rusty pole, you fucking Jap.
Are you being serious though, Showman? We'll wait for your reply. Now we wait.
Yeah, now we wait.
So yeah, no, that's I would suggest it to other people to listen to. Shayman's already got it on listening, which is great.
Yeah, good man.
What an Unsigned Week is all about. Go
yeah,
check
it
them
is. Fucking too right. So yeah,
Cool.
I think that perfectly rounds us off.
Yeah, so before we go into what's happening next week,
Yeah.
let's go over what we said before. So on Wednesday, we have Liam doing his first written review for Deciphered.
Yeah.
Don't fuck it up. On Friday, we
Great vote
have...
of confidence there, but yeah, don't fuck it up.
Well, we're like world-class journalists.
I mean, yeah, we don't fuck anything up.
Yeah. So we have our first reaction video being released on YouTube and well, hopefully YouTube. We may have some issues with YouTube. We don't know yet, but at least on Facebook, we'll release that on Friday at some point. No time given, and we'll announce what song/band it is on Friday during the day before it's released. Obviously, no,
there's really no point in doing it after it's released.
No.
Because...
Hey guys, check out what's already released. So yes, we'll announce that on Twitter. It's either Thursday or Friday, I can't remember.
Fantastic. I mean, it's worth pointing out this is a new venture for us, and
no worries, Chris. Thank you very much for the album.
We don't know what we're doing. Yeah, man, it was really good. Fucking awesome. Keep it up.
Yes. So again, we mentioned Jake did this image for us. Thank you very much, Jake. Again, also Duffy for the awesome fucking Decisive track. Now, as I mentioned before, he's formerly of Invocation and now of Amongst Phantoms. So I urge you guys to check out Amongst Phantoms. I don't think they may have an EP out coming soon.
Not too sure.
They do live shows. So if they're in your area in the Milton Keynes, that's where we live.
In the Milton Keynes.
Shit, they know where we live. If they are in your area and you see them, go check them out at a live show, at a pub, or whatever they are at.
And if you get a chance to meet Duffy afterwards, he is a really fucking sound guy, and his vocals will probably shock the shit out of you, quite frankly.
Imagine Lamb of God. Yeah. Oh, yeah. To you also, Jim. Thank you. So yes, moving on. Before that, actually, we need to thank, because we're doing citations now and stuff. Thank you to Blabbermouth, Slipknot, Hedra, Loudwire, That's Not Metal, Riot Act, Metal Hammer, other magazines involved in the images, all the images we used, and for me, thanks to Telegraph for the information for NME.
Excellent. Thank you, Internet. And also, a massive fucking thank you to our tech guy, John, for making this all possible.
Man. Oh, wizardry!
Awesome.
I'm gonna get him to put a dick on your head next time.
Please don't do that because I will just wear a strap on to the next podcast.
Fair enough.
Fucking
So-
unicorn, mate.
Next week we return to our Kieran's pick of the month, 6-week rotation. And this week I've kind of had a thought.
Wow, that's dangerous.
I had decided it, and now I'm like, should we?
Yes, because it's happening. You need something.
Next week, somehow not been done in 23 episodes. Our review is Nightmare by Avenged Sevenfold.
Fucking excellent.
Yeah, I'll save the one I had originally for next time. Which is in 6 weeks' time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Nightmare is that the right choice? Yeah, we're sticking with it.
So wait a minute. Let me get this straight. You're picking 2 Avenged albums, one after another. You said 6 weeks from now.
No, my original pick was a different album by different bands.
Okay.
So we'll go with Nightmare.
Excellent. I'm fucking stoked.
Yes, it's going to be a 4-hour episode while I delve into everything. No, it's not. And the topic next week... I didn't think about this until this. It's kind of eerie. And now it suits. The topic for next week, because we're happy people, is how death affects music. I didn't think about that when I just chose Nightmare off the top of my head.
Forever.
Thank you very much for joining us. We will see you next Monday at 8 PM.
Which is 8 PM on all formats, hopefully.
Bye!